Alright, what's up traders? So I'm just making a very quick video here because I'm seeing a very interesting opportunity here on FET BTC. So let's just jump right into the chart and take a look at the setup. Alright, so the first thing I need to show you before we take a look at the FET BTC chart, I'm going to show you Phil USDT here. This is Filecoin, right? And you probably know all about it. It had this crazy listing pump, right? But I want to talk about this, right? You got a inverse head and shoulders right here, right? So you look at the hourly here, you have the Breakout showing higher lows, with price showing lower lows. So that's a pretty nice bullish divergence on the Breakout. You have a inverse head and shoulders forming here. I'm gonna make a separate video and show you exactly how to actually trade this, right? So you get this inverse head and shoulders right here on Filecoin versus USDT. Now, if you look at FET BTC here, you see something similar, right? I'm gonna show you this, right? So you got a, a pretty obvious, in my opinion, a inverse head and shoulders forming here. Now, the interesting part here, and like I said, I'm gonna create a more detailed video on how to actually trade this. But when you get a head and shoulders forming like this, what I like to do is I like to check if first of all, I want the bottom of the left shoulder and the right shoulder to be equal to each other. So they have to be at least in the same area. You can't have the left shoulder here and the right shoulder down here. They have to be equal to each other. And to add, I only trade the inverse head and shoulders before a breakout if the bounce of the second shoulder happens on the 618 or at least inside the RLZ. So let's add the RLZ right here, get from the low down here to the high up here, extend it to the right, and what do you see here? Well, in my opinion, pretty perfect bounce of the RLZ before breaking out here and confirming the inverse head and shoulders. Now, with that in mind, let's take a look at FET BTC right here. So what are we seeing in FET BTC? Well, we are seeing a shoulder, head, and a shoulder. Now, this inverse head and shoulders was written like before this actually happened. Let's take a look at the charts that I've actually shared in the Birdnest webinar. So as you can see here, we kind of drew this on the webinar before it actually happened. So just so you don't think I've just put it on the chart to impress you guys. This is actually what we looked at, right? And as you can see here, I have the RLZ right here, and I want to see a reaction up here, and I move down into the RLZ. Now let's go back to the FET BTC chart right here. Let's add the RLZ, right? From the low here to the high here. Where does price bounce? Well, right here. So compare this bounce of the RLZ, especially the 618 on FET BTC with Phil USDT. Now the Phil breakout was quite strong, right? Look at this, right? So pretty obvious, like you bounced off the long RLZ here, especially the 618 on Phil USDT after breaking out to the upside. FET BTC showing the exact same type of price structure. So now there's a couple of ways to play this, right? Obviously for FET BTC you have some more obvious resistance area, right? But there's a couple of ways to play this, and I'm looking at this as my take profit areas, right? So you could either wait for the breakout right here. So you wait for the breakout, you then long the first rounded retest, take profit here and take profit here, and in that case, like you see here, the stop loss should be below the bounce of that right shoulder, right? That's looking pretty good. The first take profit would be 1.7 R. I'd take about 25% profit here and move my stop to entry. And then the second profit would be a nice 50% move for a good 5 R trade. Now, that's one way to trade it. Now, if you think that this will move just the same way as the Phil USDT chart where, well, in that case, you can just enter right at current prices. So just enter right here at the current prices. Put your stop below the RLZ right there. Now the first take profit would be a 2.8 R trade to the first take profit, and the second one would be a 57% move for a 6.44 R trade. So very good risk to reward ratio down here. You could also, like this, there's a third option where you could enter, let's say you enter with 50% of your desired position right here, and then enter the next 50% wherever you get the confirmed bounce on the retest. Why would you want to enter with only 50 down here? Well, maybe you think buying in anticipation of a breakout is too risky, so you're only going to risk half of your normal risk. And if it breaks out here, it might not come down to retest. Look at Phil USDT right here. It never really came down to retest the breakout area after actually breaking out. So, well, it did reclaim or retest this last high pre-breakout, but not really the neckline of the head and shoulders. So you might not get a retest, right? So that's why you might want to be in in before the actual breakout. Alright guys, that's just a quick setup and an update on FET BTC. I'm gonna show you guys, I'm gonna make a new video and show you guys exactly how to trade this specific setup in more detail at a later date. Alright, I'm gonna upload this one and hopefully you guys can get in before it breaks out. Take care guys, see you.